How y'all doing? It's a beautiful day. Man, I tell you, it has been a rough, year and a half now for all of us. It's amazing. I've been in this building now for 7 legislative sessions, and it was a crazy place when I first got here in the beginning of 2015 in the House. I can remember the first few months just being overwhelmed with all the new things around me, talking to lobbyists, talking to all these elected officials, dealing with all these literally thousands of different bills and issues that really hit me in areas that I just really had not given a lot of thought to in the past. And I was just taken back by how, frankly, at the time, I thought it was pretty bad how tuned out most of us in Oregon were in this place. But it was nothing compared to what it's like now. That building behind us has turned into a true den of iniquity. That's what it is. There are good people in that building. There really are. But we need way more people like the 2 individuals that were just speaking to you, Senator Thatcher and Senator Linthicum, who have real courage. We need men and women like you who actually are prepared to sacrifice of oneself to stand up for others, for the good of others. We have way too many people in this culture at this point, folks, and it really doesn't matter what demographic you talk about. Faith, race, income, geography, location, none of that matters. We are way too selfish in this country at this point, way too self-focused. It's about what's in it for me. In the past, when political consultants would talk to me, and I don't hire political consultants for my stuff anymore because I just really don't have any use for what they have to offer. It's always been about, you gotta have a message that has enough of what's in it for me for the people that are listening. And I'm like, well, yeah, but what if it's not true? What if it's not really coming from a place that is good? What if it's not taking us to a place that I would actually be proud of when I leave this earth to leave my children in, right? The only kind of culture that I want to leave behind, and that I hope you will come with me on and leaving behind when we're done, is one that is God-fearing. Doesn't mean you have to go to church, but God-fearing. You got to start at a foundation of right and wrong somewhere, folks. That building right now is operating on morality. Forget my word right now. Well, it's a moral deficits, but it's moral relativism is what it is, meaning it's shifting sand. What was good 10 days ago is bad now. What's bad today will be good tomorrow. There's no foundation. That is a critical aspect that we must return to if this country is going to survive. That self-focus, it takes you to some really weird places. I say this about a lot of people I have to work with all the time. They're a ship adrift. Again, that moral relativism. Somehow you and I have got to start taking back the microphone. We have to stop letting their accusations and lies that you and I, no matter what we look like, are racists or bigots of some form because we don't agree with everything they're pushing down our throats with the force of government behind them. They call us extremists, not because we're extreme, but because we're not willing to just go sprinting in whatever direction they're hurting us in. An extremist is not right-leaning or left-leaning. An extremist is someone who uses force to get their way. That's what an extremist is, folks. You go to Wikipedia right now, it says a fascist is a right-wing, yada, yada, yada. Fascism is for everybody to abuse. You can always end up being a fascist. It doesn't matter if you started out Democrat, Republican, leftist, right-wing, it doesn't matter. Words mean things. The radical left is perverting our language so they can confuse us. We hear the word equity all the time. It sounds good, right? Because it sounds like equality. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. preached, worked for, sacrificed, and gave his life for equality. That all men and women are created equal. Equity is discrimination. The opposite of what he stood for. We have to take back the microphone. And the first one you must seize is the microphone that is speaking to our children. I'm sure many of you enlisted for going into the school board elections. Hopefully you all won. I need each and every one of you to take a vested interest in taking back our school system. We need our education system to be focused on one main area: teach our children how to read, how to do basic math, how to write, not how to think about whether their parents are right or wrong on their religious beliefs or political beliefs. This is something we saw in the rise of World War II Germany. That's a fact. They're going to say, oh my gosh, he's saying all these extremist things. Sorry, First Amendment rights give me the full God-given right to speak my mind and speak the truth. All you have to do is get out a history book and just look at the parallels between what is coming from the progressive radical left and what you saw in the World War II era, and it lines up perfectly. It's almost pathetic what a copy job they've done. There's a lot of Marxism in this as well. Divide and conquer is what this is all about. And frankly, up until this last year and a half, I really didn't fully grasp what divide and conquer even meant. When you're evil and all you care about is domination, control, power, you go out and you lie about your neighbor. You spread deceit, you spread those lies of hate, and you get everybody fighting against each other. You say, well, this group over here, they're being oppressed by this group over here, so you need to hate them, and you need to hate them, and before you know it, we're all so divided, and we're all so weakened from battling from each other. Kate Brown and the people she represents control everything. This is tyranny we are living under. That building does not represent freedom or equality at all anymore. It represents elitism, it represents control, it represents darkness. That's a fact. It doesn't matter if it's bright and shiny with a gold person on the top of it. That's what it represents on the inside, and that's what matters. All we have to say to really put this in total perspective is that the people of Oregon are not allowed in that Capitol building. That's all you have to say to know all that you need to know about the people who run that place. And anybody, I don't care if they're Democrats or Republicans, just in case you don't know, I'm the senator for Southwest Oregon, but I'm also the party leader for the entire state of Oregon for the Republican Party. But here's the thing, folks. I am not the friend of every Republican. I am only the friend and advocate of men and women who are your friends in being total champions day in and day out in defending your constitutional rights. If you call yourself a Republican and you're an elected official and you are not doing literally everything it takes to stand up for these good men and women down here, you are not worthy to serve. We can no longer, I'm a working class guy, I'm a middle class guy, from a family that was working class, lower income class, that rose up because of freedom to be strong, independent minded people that are having good success in this life, economic, family, culturally, good success, because of one thing, God-fearing principles rooted in freedom. You and I as working class people have to take back our government. Enough of letting the elitists, the Ivy League crowd, run the show. You talk about a bunch of disconnected people who are cold and dead inside. Now, just because you're born into wealth doesn't mean you're not a great person. There are great people out there that are born into or achieve high economic status. But there are not nearly enough of us that started with nothing having great influence in our political scene these days, whether party or in government. If you want freedom, if you want liberty, if you want to be able to make your own choices, if you don't want your communities to be literally burning to the ground, if you want your children to actually be able to walk through life without being called racists because of their skin color, or not capable because of their skin color by a bunch of elitists, you got to join the Republican Party, not so you can vote for Republicans, but so that you can make sure you're the Republicans that represent this party. That's how it has to be. I get it if you're sick with the parties. I'm sick of them too. I'm only a Republican because it's the best of the two parties for me to get inside, as far as if it's a political vehicle, to go out there and promote the Constitution, freedom. The Democratic Party is far from that at this point. But the fact of the matter is the Republican Party is not nearly close enough to what it should be. Being a non-affiliated voter is not helping you, and let me tell you why. You're cutting yourself out of the conversation on deciding who will represent these political parties. If you sign up as a Republican, now you can either run to be a candidate to make it what it should be, or you can vote for the right man or woman that is running that will make it for what it should be. But if you're a non-affiliated or an independent or a libertarian or a constitutionalist or what have you, you have no impact through the primary voting cycle. And so now what do you get in the general? The lesser of two evils. We can do better than that. I can't do this on my own. I'm just a high school educated hillbilly. Okay? It's just the way it is. Ask my wife, she'll confirm it. I need you. I really do. I can't do this all on my own. The party position pays $0. The legislature pays minimum wage. This is a heavy lift for my wife and I, but it's worth it. If these words mean something to you, it's worth it. If from today on you actually get up, get organized, get involved, make the Republican Party what it should be, take back the state of Oregon for all people, not one race, not three, all of them, all religions, all economic status. Equality means everybody's the same. It's not that hard. But I need you to make this happen, because if we save Oregon, we save America. That is how this is going to work. There's a blue wall called the West Coast. We need to blow a hole through the middle of that wall. I am not leaving this state to the chagrin of the individuals inside those marble walls. So you better stick here with me as well, and let's start turning this thing around. I'm not one to wait. I want to get it done now. I don't want to wait for my children to become of age, and then I have to say, man, I don't know if you should stay here in your home state that you love, because we just didn't get the job done for the last 20 years. No more excuses. If it doesn't hurt, you're not doing enough. If it's not uncomfortable, you're not doing enough. If you're not offending a few people here and there, you're not doing enough. That's just the way it is. That doesn't mean you have to be rude. But actually saying what you believe, it doesn't matter how nice you say it. Let me tell you, Senator Thatcher, if she's still here, is quite possibly the most opinionated person who's also at the same time one of the most wonderful to talk to you could ever meet in life. It's quite the combination. I have a tremendous amount of admiration for that woman. Here's my point. You can have the best manners in the world, like Kim Thatcher does, but because she actually believes in something and says it clearly, it offends a lot of people. That's their problem. That's not Kim's, that's not yours. Because I'll tell you what, I walked through the Portland protests 2 different nights with a mask on, you better believe it, because I didn't want to be recognized. And I'm here to tell you, the radical left, they don't give a darn what any of you think. They're going to say it. They don't give a darn what I think, nor should they. They're going to say it. We could take some lessons from those folks. But never, ever go violent. Ever. That is not okay. That is not how freedom is established. That's how tyranny from your tribe is established. And that crew in there is doing that right now. We are not hypocrites. We are servants. Servants don't kick doors in physically. They kick them in from the heart. But you have to live it. And you have to be willing to sweat and bleed and pray to God above for the blessing to achieve the success we seek. It starts today. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Those people are terrified. They are terrified of what you will become. You remember that every time they call you a bad name, every time they spray hate at you, you're over the target. That's how this works. They ignore the ones they don't care about. They come gunning after you for the ones that they know are going to be a problem for their reign of tyranny. I've had enough. Have you had enough? I expect to see some registered Republicans after today.